program intervention. That's one of the biggest drug, let's say, soap opera they have on American television. One Some of the things they will tell you about, when someone recover, and their recovery is about not less than $100,000 spent on one person, because they will have to fly you in a chopper in an isolated place with everything. They're giving you all the best, and you come out, you're looking this good. But they will tell you about 5 out of 10 things that you don't want to do as an addict or recovering addict. The people. You don't go around the
same group of people.
That will warn you.
Yeah.
Because easily you can relapse. Then the next is the places you go to or you used to frequent before you went to that place. That's why they take you during recovery to an isolated place that you've never been before, right? And they even leave you to walk around. You're going to enter in the forest.
And these Kolba are. Go ahead, Kwame.
Yeah.
Completely.
Then the next is poor care. So you come out, you're in that facility, everything looks good, you're eating on time, all of that. You come outside, you don't have those kind of care again. And then next thing, every recovering artist comes out with that kind of pride and overconfidence. They tell you, don't do that.
Yeah.
Always think that you're ill and you can. And the final one is boredom. Once you're by yourself, work out. Trust me. The next thing is you try to get a joint and boom, all of that.
So let's move beyond this particular something and talk about the broader, efforts by the government. Kaluba, what do you think is going to happen with this bigger effort by the government of Liberia?
So, Minister Wilson and the team have developed, along with the UN system, with us, a bigger program called the At-Risk Youth Program.
Yeah.
And like Kwame was saying, the chances of people recovering from these scenarios to come back, the chances are high if some of the conditions are not mitigated.
Yeah.
Because, believe you me, their best friends are those who they commute together.
Yeah.
So when they come back, they reflect on going to those friends. The way to detach them is what Minister Wilson and his team has put into place, and we're supporting them heavily, is you move them, provide skills for them. If they have skills, for example, you say electricity. I always told the young people, a lot of people, everybody will not go to college or university and have a degree.
Yeah,
but we have not even started expanding electricity as per our demand in the country. So let's say we're going to Buchanan, for example. We'll soon be expanding electricity in Buchanan. Who are the technicians there to be doing the expansion in Buchanan?
Right.
We're now building the hard road in Lofa and moving it to Fojama. Who are they going to be the technicians? So these people.
But by the way, you're not talking hypotheticals here. You're talking real. That we're going to Buchanan soon with electricity.
Oh yeah, we have a substation close to Buchanan. The EU and the Rural Renewal working together now to ensure that we have a contractor to expand the electricity. I think they've been working with the city authorities, the county authorities to make sure that will happen. In Lofa, obviously yes, we're constructing a dam there. We're now planting the poles from the Kahai River all the way to Vonjama. Hopefully by this year we should have a diesel plant in Vonjama. I'm saying this to say that Minister Wilson now has a responsibility. He's going to move these guys somewhere, train them, and those are the skill sets that they will have. Because the workforce we need in the energy sector, in terms of gas, something happened to your breaker, something happened to your wires in the house. You don't have to call LEC to come there. The LEC look at bigger things as our network.
Exactly.
So these young people that will be trained, they are the ones that are going to be moved.
And as a matter of fact, we should also state that the Minister of Youth and Sport that day did he did make the announcement about placing these people at different vocational training centers. He allocated them separately to different vocational training centers. So yeah, they're working on that too.
Okay, so that means your fear of relapse is being mitigated right now, because as they leave that place for now, a brief program, they're moving to vocational sectors. And what I'm saying is that we should be able to encourage them to move to marketable skills area. And I keep insisting electricity, for example. Plumbing and tile laying. I move people from Monrovia to go to Zozo, to go to Vonjama to lay camo tile.
Oh, wow.
So those young people got a brighter future, provided we all encourage them to remain within the vocational skill training program. They have parents. And some of the parents will call them and visit them to those places, provide support for them as the government is increasing, taking on the bigger tickets. But
Let's announce that as part of our conversation this morning, the Minister of Labor is going to be here. He's going to be here from 9 to 10 o'clock. That is part of the communication team's effort to, put forth to the public most of the achievements that have been made over the period of 5 going on to 6 years, as we approach the end of the first mandate given to His Excellency the President just before his State of the Nation address. So the communication team, has sort of organized the various sectors to come and talk about developments in the sector. So the Minister of Labor is going to be here to talk about some of the labor matters. But let me move on to another subject of our conversation this morning, which is the lifting of tariff on rice. This, it seems, has been of utmost concern to His Excellency the President of Liberia. In fact, it was one of the first meetings that he held when he became president. I remember when he called the members of the Importers Association and all of that, and started to talk to them about reducing the price of rice. That is because President George Weah has lived in this country. He's seeing, firstly, that this is our staple, and this has also brought about some clamor, politically and all of that. So he wanted to ensure that it is available on the market, the commodity is available and affordable. So he met with the importers, talked to them about maintaining the price very early on. I think it was the first 2-3 months within his administration. And ever since, he's been issuing one executive order after the other, Executive Order 98, Executive Order 105, Executive Order 113, which was just recently issued, suspending tariff on rice. Koloba, you from the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, somebody was asking me the other day, what economic impact is this going to have?
so, you see, each time the president issues an executive order exempting tariff on a particular commodity, a further brings the team, the economic management team, to a pressure to absorb shock or to absorb that pressure. Because it's the vision of the president. It's almost like, let's say you are getting $10 from importation of rice.
Okay.
You program that $10 in the budget and say, we're going to build my Bagley Road with that $10. And the president said, well, for the sake of my people, we're not going to collect that $10. But you are the Minister of Finance, you still need to make sure that the Mabake Road is built. You're not going to get excused to the president and say, because you say they put out no tariff on rice, we're not going to build Mabake Road. So I'm telling you that the kind of coordination and the work that is behind these things and what pressure it brings on the economic management thing to continue to stabilize the country the way it is. And so I can say that this is within the vision of the president to ensure that the Liberian people don't suffer. When you hear people talking bread and butter issues, those are the issues. And so, yes, it brings additional pressure, but again, there is a team that is working to ensure that that pressure is absorbed, and the president deliverables are met. So, in a summary, I can say that it's absorbable. Let me put it that way. Whatever pressure that comes out of it is absorbable. And
so when you say absorbable, in other words, you're probably talking about the fact that firstly, these are monies that will otherwise have contributed to the national budget. But then we are excluding that now because we're not going to be collecting them. So we can look to other sources for that additional revenue that should come, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, so what happened is, the executive order was enforced, right?
Yeah.
It's just been renewed. So its predictability was done that, look, okay, let's say the president will still continue with the executive order, right?
Okay.
If he still continues, will work within this. If he doesn't continue, then it will come here budget. It will come here as surplus.
Okay.
So we could come here as supplementary budget and say, well, because the tariff was not imposed, then we'll raise more money. We'll go back to the legislature. So these were calculated and they were worked on along with the office of the president.
Kwame?
Yeah, and like what Kolba is saying, he's 100% correct. So you predicted from the beginning that you collecting $10 for rice as tariff, and the $10 were going to go to maybe some other development. and then they tell you, say, no, we're not collecting that because, mind you, and some, most of these things, the president, I think, consults with, where they're going to find the money. Because, most of the time, he turns to where, you think we got money in there? Or how can we do this? And, he lies about that. But to be honest, looking at our economy, and this is where folks already have seen, the president move and shake things, and we've been on this, road before, and we've survived it. When it started, it's like your child, Barka, your son, I think he's 10 or 11, and
Sure.
he doesn't care about, what are you doing to get him to have ice cream on Sunday?
No.
Right.
It doesn't care what happened at the job site.
Right. So all of this, and for at some point, to avoid what Kaluba is talking about, the people have to be conscientized about how do we, graduate from this rise. Remember, we were climbing the stairs, and you see Firestone, B Mountain, all of these different places. So our workers
As part of the major labor issue
Right.
that they're clamoring for is how much rice they get.
right,
How many bag of rice they get?
imagine that this is not happening all across the world and or our neighbors.
Yeah.
They're asking, look, give us what belongs to us. Even if it means or adding something on our work, equal work, equal pay, and all of those stuff. But it's so that people are asking, we want extra one more bag of rice. And it's like they give you $20. You say no, you want one. You put $20 down now, and you put one bag of rice down. The man will go for the rest. Though if he takes the $20, he's still gonna get the rice and $3 change.
If you have $20, the temptation around is so high. $20 cash now, probably you want to sit with your friends somewhere. But the rice, you take it straight home.
I know it.
I like to mention that some of these things, the foundation have been laid by the very tough decision that the president made. And I will always be repetitious about this because it is the foundation of the growth that we see in the economy.
Yeah.
This harmonization, this cutting of waste within the public sector has laid a serious foundation that if you tamper with it 1 second, the whole country will collapse from the economic standpoint. And so the president made a decision and said, look, let's cut waste within the government, the spending, and move the resources to the places where the people's lives will be affected. To the extent that, let me share this with you. When I got appointed earlier, and the first salary, when I saw the first salary, I went to my wife, and then I proposed some kind of a car. I said, honey, in 6 months time, the car I will buy. After the next month, poof, they cut. I reduced the appetite of the car. After harmonization, I said to you, the car been here, look for 1 will be going around, right? So what I'm saying is that those cuts are the ones now stabilizing our economy in a way that we're finding space to do a lot of the work we are doing. Imagine we came from a public sector investment space under our recast budget in 2019 of $9.6 million. The president started working with just $9.6 million for investment.
Wow.
And he tackled the little issues that matter for the people. The first thing was the feasibility study of the 14 military hospital. He said,
Oh, you mean 9.6 million now for public sector investment?
oh, yes.
Okay. Oh, you mean
When he
okay,
took,
good.
there was no space.
Yeah.
So $9.6
Because
million.
that was because the recurrent expenditure
Was so huge.
was so huge. Okay.
And so he started moving up to $53 million, moving up to 7,500, and today we are in 100. I've always said,
let's put it into context what Benedict is saying. So one of the reasons that have made it very difficult for us to carry out development is that the national budget has been heavily controlled by something the economists will call recurring expenditure.
Yeah.
The one we can get pay salary, pay domestic debt and all the different stuff. So every year that the only thing we can do, we can put money aside for development, no real money inside, we gotta wait for international people to come do it.
Yeah.
What this president has been doing is to reduce the recurring expenditure part and increase the one for capital investment so that we can have more money. And by the way, we're generating this money on our own now. domestic revenue mobilization. Like you hear that 85% of the national budget, which is almost close to $1 billion, is now domestic revenue. So we generate our money ourselves and we use it now back in the country, build roads, build this, build that, and all the stuff. You see a lot of things being built.
Parker, let me share
Now,
this.
go ahead.
Let me share this with you. I went to, to Habel supermarket just a couple of days ago, and we went in there. I took a few lemons and broccoli. I put them in the bag, this little shrink bag, and we took it to the guy right out there who does the weighing. So I said, "This is the guy who hands out the verdict." I was cracking joke with him. He said, "No, they're not me." I said, "But then who?" He said, "My man, that the LRA people. Every day they come and check the machine." I was so proud. I felt like, wow.
Well, but another thing the Minister of Labor to doing, that LRA the Minister of Labor making sure that now when in the supermarket, when you get the manager, that foreigner, the deputy, they must be Liberian. So that some of the things, some of the things they're implementing.
So I was like, wow, this is. I mean, I didn't even know that. He said, yeah, you don't see the sticker right there. They have these patent stickers and all of that stuff. I mean, the guys at LRA are doing a great job.
Oh yeah, and we ain't getting the budget show for this now. Why is that, Kolba?
Because our appetite is not more than what we can get.
I know.
We're not spending beyond what we've raising. I keep emphasizing this. The president to have ensured that we don't borrow from the central bank.
Yeah.
To have ensured that we spend based on what we've raised, not based on what we plan to use.
Yeah.
To plan on what you want to do and to utilize what you have are two different things.
Yeah.
So the budget is $2, but today we only have 50 cents. Let's use that 50 cents.
I know.
And be waiting for raising another 50 cents or 25 cents to add it. Each time we raise, we spend. We raise, we spend. But we can't say we're hoping to get $2, like I go credit the $2. What if it doesn't come?
You were talking about the waste also that will reduce. But, sort of put that in the context. What was the waste like? As far as you're talking about waste and abuse.
So because this is your show and you gather it, so I follow. But I wanted to talk about some of the waste, for example. I've been trying to catalog since I've engaged this process to give the progress of the government. And I look at one line for 5 years, 2012, 2013 to 2017. If you look at foreign travel, under the UP was almost around $14 million.
Foreign travel.
Then I look at what we have done from 2018 up to 2022, 5 years, with around $7 million.
Wow. They spent 2 times that number.
Yeah, so meaning that we were saying reduce the travel. While you're traveling for, let the foreign embassy handle some of the issues when it's needful. Then you go in there and do some of the things.
Yeah.
So that is part of the way. So that $7 million,
it can go towards development.
Yes. Then the DSA in allowance towards that was almost around the same $40 million.
Oh well, separate from the travel cost?
No, it's separate from the travel cost.
Wow.
And that's why I always tell people when I speak with fire. If you want to verify that, you don't want official communication to the finance ministry. They will go to the APS system.
Yeah.
And you put all the numbers for you. Simple. You say Berekora is lying. So those are the waste that were within the, for example.
And mind you, these are the very people who ironically will be criticizing the president for traveling.
Yeah.
When he doesn't make these travels very frequent. And as a matter of fact, when he goes, he brings in dividends. Yeah. For instance, we just saw the Emirates Hospital.
Oh, yes.
We've seen the promise from the Chinese to build overhead bridges, and they're working on that. That was some of the trip. We've seen budget support from the French. Money towards youth development and all of that. But yeah, you open it up. I want to hear more.
Yeah, so you talk about the hospital. When I saw 3 major hospitals have been built, and I'm like, what kind of president we have? So the man is statistically monitoring the country.
Yeah.
I was reading one report, and the report was looking at the health sector analysis was far back, looking at how frequent people go to hospital, then there were three major areas that people go to hospital very fast as compared to other places. In the northwestern part, which is
The
Bapolo side,
Uh-huh.
the southeast B and A, and I see the three major hospitals are three places. I'm like, wow. And like this man, he's
because
monitoring the
he-
trend.
he does his
he's
homework,
monitoring
you know.
doing his own monitoring. So when somebody is coming and saying, no, these places are the one we've targeted first.
Yeah.
Let the hospital go to those places. And, I just wanted to say that about that.
Well, what's about the salaries? Where people had, under the waste and abuse thing, where people had access to just enormous amount of money. Heads of different ministries and agencies, they have something they call the special allowance, in addition to the official salaries that these employees are making at the different ministries and agencies.
Yeah, so those are the foundations that are helping us right now.
Okay.
In the past, we had, on the average, 2 payrolls. I like how the CSA posts it. They call it dangerous double payroll system. In that payroll system, you had a few group of people, around 47,000 people, on civil service payroll making like $1. You have around 35,000 on what we call special alliances.
Yeah.
Those were public, we call them public sector workers.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the third one was the political appointees. And one of the things is strange for you to note is that political appointee salary was a taboo for any controller to know. And
Really?
so, yeah. So political appointee salary was special salary somewhere and was only processed by the Controller General of the Republic of Liberia. But today, the reason you had an issue at MICAT?
Yeah.
Because your salary is on the same payroll that even the sweeper at MICAT salary is on. So when they see your salary and see their salary, they say, oh, the disparity,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's part of transparency.
Yeah.
So all political appointees, by the time your entity is paid, you are paid along with your entity.
Yeah. So it's no longer like, because I remember this when we came initially, there were times when the employees would complain, and not just Amica, but other government ministries and agencies, they were complaining that they are not taking pay, but all political appointees are already taking pay because that was a system that we met.
Yeah.
And that had to be changed.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a point in time when the president issued executive sort of amended and said political appointees should start taking pay last. Let the employees take pay first.
Yeah.
And that order changed. But now I think they pay per ministries, right?
Yeah. The order have changed that, look, you and your people are working together.
Yeah, all the LT pay together.
All of your pay together. And let me tell you one interesting thing. Sometimes when we all broke, some of my colleagues will say, Ben, give me something. I say, man, I got my man, finance administration can take pay before you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the perception.
No, finance administration is almost one of the last. And I must confess, I'm always fighting Minister Tua. I said, Minister Tua, we are the nuclear of the government. We should take pay for it. He said, no, you are serving other people. When you eat now, you're grateful, you don't care for the other people. So look at the mother in the home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he says. Mother is dishing the food. She will put all the children food. The last one, then she put it in the cross pack, put her soup on it. That's what she's eating.
I was saying somewhere last evening,
What
somebody
that-
was talking
what
about that they said the man in the home not supposed to say she's hungry because she don't want to prepare the food. And that's somebody was having.
The mother is always hungry because she was there. So I'm like, okay, Chief, you're right. So
Let me go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to know, Calabar, what are some of those things that, the people out there listening to you, and it's a good thing we have you in studio, that, people will say, oh no, they have not taken pay. Why is it that other ministries have already taken pay? I know some of the situations with the bank and the delays, the processing, and that's one thing we have in this country. One man does his job, the next man, wastes time. The next man wants to do his job, but
Yeah.
he's waiting for this guy in the middle, and all of a sudden we have this ripple.
You have a delay.
This ripple effect, and people are all over the place. You want to talk about that?
yeah, so sometimes some people say, oh yes, we praise one man and stuff like that. But I like to give that credit to Minister Tue. And I have learned that from him. He have always said the finance administrative job is not completed when the other agencies don't work. So for example, if ERBC tells me that they're going to pay 10 workers and I gave them the salary for those 10 workers. If the 10 workers don't take pay, they don't know ERBC, they know finance ministry.
Yeah.
So I should follow up with ERBC and say, I gave you the money yesterday. When are you paying the workers? If you pay the workers, give me
Wow.
the information.
Right.
So it's in that vein. Sometimes the reason it delay is that the minister has said, and he keep pushing that, we send salary to the banks. So technically, when the system is working from our side, we have paid civil servants.
Yeah.
As long as they
And I
go to
always
the
hear,
bank.
I always hear that as
But the minister is saying, if the civil servant in Lofa doesn't receive salary, he doesn't care which bank. He says finance ministry.
Yeah.
So he now put in a small team under the Controller General office assigned to banks to ensure that once we pay through the banks should give timeline that, look, from this time to this time, all civil servants will be paid. And that report should come back to that committee, and that committee takes it back to the minister. So anytime you hear the minister announce that civil servant will take pay on this day, it means that the money has gone to the bank maybe 5-6 days before the day he's announcing,
Oh, okay.
right?
So somebody would say, why should our faith be in the hand of a commercial bank when finance ministry? Is there a system? Are you thinking about a system where once you get between the 25th and the 30th, a click of a mouse from the controller's office puts our text messages on our phone?
No, I think the controller is working on that. But what happened is all civil servants are paid through the banks, right? And so we give them the check, and then your bank accounts are on the payroll. And
No,
then they have to
but
credit
he's
your
talking
account. But
about
while you're talking
a
about
paperless process,
Yeah,
that
right.
controls things automatically from the Ministry of Finance to the
Right.
banks.
Yeah,
We're still going to go to
That's-
the bank.
that's the
but
next
I'm saying the process,
Oh, yeah.
that click,
That-
right.
that's
Because
that's
some
the-
of them say, oh, you go load, I don't mean a single in the bank, I'll just keep names. And
Who will see the chair you?
on the 28th, you go load, boom, you get a USD message.
Yeah.
You're thinking normally the both of them supposed to come together,
Together.
but they will chunk it. You get USD and then 1 week, sometimes 1 month before you get the LD.
Some of those things are get technical, sometimes human error. Like somebody who is at the bank who was supposed to credit your account, maybe they didn't come to work that day.
For a month?
For a month it's a different case,
Yeah,
right?
no, that one
Like
a
I
crisis.
said, Yeah, those are crisis.
That one a crisis.
Yeah,
For one more.
But the Controller General,
Yeah.
the Controller General office is working on that. I know that at the finance ministry, I need to check on that. One of the banks should be EcoBank.
EcoBank.
They will receive instant.
That's what I
credit,
heard.
Right?
Yeah. Anyway, this
So-
is not a PR for.
That's
So,
what I
so
said.
I think it was a pilot to see
Yeah.
how we can work on that, and the Controller General is handling that. But what is most important is that for the finance ministry to pay the civil servant in time. Sometimes some of these people who got problem with their individual bank accounts or names, yes, there are some minor issues
Yeah,
like
those
that.
are-
They're very fast in handling.
Anyway, let's move on. Because I know that we got other subject to talk about before we open the lines and the minister comes in. Let's talk about first and foremost, I wanted to also mention the fact that I think the Liberian government just won a case in the court involving the trafficking in person of, there was a time when dozens of Liberian women were trafficked to Oman, right? The
It's
government-
still that
still,
time.
yeah, still is
Still
happening.
at that time.
But the government worked through that particular government and brought back those women, and then instituted a legal proceeding against the accused, and the government had just announced that it's won that case, and it was closely followed, by the way, by the U.S. Embassy in Monrovia. So this is something that the government is fighting. One of the questions I'm going to be asking the Minister of Labor when he comes to the studio, what is the significance of all this? But I want to talk about the 65,000 life jacket, that the government's supposed to be giving to fisher folks, and we're talking about the president trip abroad, right?
Yeah.
I remember when the president went to Japan, that's one of the things that were criticized very heavily by folks in the opposition, because they criticized everything. They wanted the sound bites to go out of the president's traveling and all of that. But he brought back dividend, like he did with the case of the UAE. We got a hospital. So when he was coming back, he brought commitment from the Japanese government that they were going to give hundreds of outboard machines to these fishermen to use on their canoes. And that was given to the fishermen last year. I mean, it was accompanied by a lot of fanfare. They were so happy. But then they made additional requests, to the president to give them life jackets. Because our radio statistics that says just between 2019 and 2022, we've lost about 200 or so fishermen.
And that number is more.
Yeah, and that's
just
quite.
people
Imagine
who
that
were
is
able to find.
that could be higher, but it's
Yeah.
it's quite high. That a number for fisher folks to be dying like that. So this is something that it's a request that they made, and the president has heeded that request. I usually talk on the show about the social contract between the government and the people. The people clamor for hospital in the Western region. He built it. They clamor for electricity. Last year, particularly about this time, people will be calling. I saw Kwame Road the other day. They will be calling from all over the place. Dubo Road, no lead. This, that, no lead. Now we put
No more road.
millions of dollars in the
No-
budget to
no
remedy that particular
no more
situation.
road call.
You just heard Benedict talking about. In fact, we're thinking about expanding electricity now. So that has remedied that. Now, the fisher folks were complaining about their safety. The president brought in 65,000 life jackets for them, Benedict.
You put a couple of things together.
Yeah.
I would like to let me start with the electricity
Yeah.
issue. I didn't know that there are many bold people in Liberia till this power theft issue. If you go to Dupo Road, interesting to know that there are people going there boldly and telling Madam Bro,
Yeah, say.
I'm Stephen Curry.
Yeah, I was thinking. I saw that.
Because once you confess that you are stealing curry, they don't want you to steal curry, you pay a fine,
Yeah.
and immediately you are connected. So
Yeah.
actually some people lie on themselves because they want the electricity. So you see the way we've done that. So it's going on massive. But on the life jacket, I like to foundate it with the passion of the president. Minister, I don't know whether you were with the president on the first leg of his county tour in Bone County. It started with the agriculture fair.
Yeah.
There is something the president did there I can never forget. When the fair was over, the guy who won the best cassava farmer of the year is a lame guy.
Yeah,
He
the
was in a
disabled guy.
wheelchair.
Yeah.
And so the president was going
He
around
and his
now
wife.
giving the gifts. At this point, I think it was to his disbelief because he didn't know. And we're going to, how cassava is handled.
Yeah.
We're going to the cassava farmer of the year. The guy is coming, but the president almost passing by the winner. And so the minister stopped, and this is the winner. The president was so moved by that action. Aside from the official gift, the president gave him $10,000
Mhm.
And he made a statement without castigating the guy. He said, if somebody
Who's
is
disabled
can plant cassava and win in this
And
country,
win the competition
what's
as a
up for-
farmer.
Yes.
One of the most demanding job physically.
Yes, cassava farm.
Cassava.
So I'm just saying that to have even gone to Buchanan, gone to places and see the risks that fishermen are taking to meet the livelihood of their families and even serve the Liberian populace. By the way, the fishery sector is now, in terms of revenue, in terms of how they call it, production of fish, is now increasing in Liberia since we took over.
Significantly, yeah.
Right? And so to see those people contributing to the economy that way, I think that was kind of another side of him, of his compassion.
And by the way, you should also state that the fishery sector now, at least, firstly, I mean, it's a booming sector, by the way, but they also beginning to contribute to the national budget,
Indeed.
In a way that never happened in this country before.
Yeah.
It is important to note because I'm helping on this project. I've been all the different beaches handing out these jackets and let's say talking about these jackets. It's going to be on Friday in Nuku Town. That's where the official launch going to happen. 2-3 days before that, there will be a road show also, according to Madam Glasgow.
Okay.
Staying with fishery, there's a science college that's also being built by fishery and the University of Liberia.
Okay.
But Madam Glasgow also talked about casualty at sea, which she said is mainly due to capsized canoes. And I spoke to a few folks, like the guys we talked to around, I think they said at Snow Beach area around there. He said, look, just a couple of meters away, even the water would stop me on my knee. And he said that we lost a guy right here just the other time, and he was so angry. He said that dry season, yeah, nobody will die in the water. So I said, well, man, why you sounding like that? He said, yeah. The other guy said, but my man, I can swim from here all the way down there. So that dry season, I will not wear the vest when it comes. But the rain season, that's when we need these vests. So I said, but
Use it all the time.
use it all the time. It doesn't matter when, because I know you're a fish, but try to put on your jacket and stuff like that. So it tells you what this president, the safety, whether be it in school, whether paying wide fees. I mean, so many things are litany. I can go on and on and on and on. This president wants to see his people.
Yeah, let's open the lines. Carlos on the following numbers. Zero. Every day I can look at it anymore. 080-514-096. That's the number. 080-514-096 or 086-561-537. Shortly, we're going to be having the Minister of Labor in the studio. We'll have our first caller, right? Let's talk to this caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
This is Jim Harry calling from Canada Supermarket.
Yeah, Harry, go ahead.
Yeah, want to commend you, people that is still worker for finance, and the Honorable Benedict Koluba,
Yeah.
that I'm mistaken, Ami Kwame.
Yeah,
That I'm mistaken.
Kwame Weeks.
Kwame Wee, correct. Gwekugbe, and Gwekugbe Junior from Canada Supermarket. We are waiting 2023 for capital program that we see what we can do for our
My man, we're in 2023. We used to talking about we 2023 already.
I'm from Boro Vietnam. Never laid out on a quarry before. John, we are making. I laid out on a quarry. My old man from Boro Vietnam, we laid out on a quarry. My brother will wait for
Corey Ibo Yetana.
Corey Iatana.
Corey supermarket, Canada Supermarket.
Oh, okay.
Corey, yeah, we enjoy the answer from Boro Vietnam that the country also.
I said I was in a supermarket. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I was in a supermarket the other day, and somebody was telling. I think the guy went to buy something. The other supermarket is a store, which couldn't be used by the generator. But then he was telling the man, 2 months from now we'll get electricity. 2 months from so the man was speaking with such confidence. So I just wanted to ask him, say, oh yeah, in the Baptist seminary, 2 months you find the finish connecting our house and everything.
I think you should dedicate one of your show to electricity.
Yes.
We talk about
totally
agree. Now people go and tell, how are they using the current?
current
I'll tell
now.
you one way I'm using the current for now. I have a way in my background. I bought my small freezer. I'm just saying that maybe it will help other people.
Yeah.
My wife will cook. Saturday she cooked 3 days soup with one more like American.
I know.
3 days soup. 3 soup.
Yeah, you keep it in the S-bar.
Keep it in the S-bar.
You want to eat, take it
You
from
want
there.
to
Yes,
eat,
sir.
you warm small and eat. So to cook every day,
Yeah,
the
that
one
trouble.
time,
Yeah, I know.
all the kind of thing, and not happening.
It not happening.
And so I know a lot of people will be doing that.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Boakai.
Yeah, your name, where are you calling from?
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Christian Yanti, and I joined the conversation from the Office of the Intellectual Rights Librarian along the Span Freeway.
Yeah, Christian, go ahead.
Well, I appreciate Kwame and appreciate Minister Koruba. I think he's one of the person that this government can hope on, and I hope that this engagement should be something
Continue.
done consistently, because I listen to him on OKF and different media articles.
We'll be dragging him here. We'll bring him here every time.
Yeah, I let him drag the one in the opposition. But basically, I would like to talk about the president program, about the rich youth. I think it is something that we should give into, because I listened to somebody yesterday who is contesting as Senator of Maserati County, Guinness.
Yeah.
And he said, Joseph bringing buses, Joseph building schools, undermining the NTA, undermining this, that. But he forgot to know that he is an ardent supporter of the law, who is also building rehabilitation center that is undermining as well. If he says so in his own words, that is undermining the Ministry of Youth and Sport.
I know.
And he's a senator. So the point is, if this government is holding on to the belief that we should rehabilitate and reintegrate our brothers and sisters who went with war, bring them back to society, it is something that we should give it up to the government. This government has made significant mark in the interest of the ordinary masses of our people. Why don't you rally around this government to ensure that we really let President Weah so as to spare the affairs of our nation in a direction in which everyone will enjoy our nation's economy and our country's resources.
And-
Minister, thank you so much.
And don't go and don't go.
Hold on, Christian.
Christian, hold on. And you know, every time they talk about the Rex youth and they go on Center Street or something, they try to pump these guys and make it look like, you see, you know, the president have abandoned you people, you know, and they will get these isolated recordings and all of that. Now, when the problem is being solved, then they move the goalposts again and say,
another
"Oh no,
subject matter.
yeah, you're not supposed to be the one who's solving it."
But the thing is, Kwame,
hungry.
who connects with ordinary people? Which political leader connects with ordinary people?
Right.
Grassrooters the
Right.
most.
Right.
You should have seen the level of interaction these people had with the president that day when he went. They felt like one of, you know, them. Listen to the song they sang for him. You know what? You know what I'm saying there? We'll carry to the mansion to go work for the poor people. Because basically his policies have been poor people driven. You know, that's what we call pro-poor.
Yeah.
That's what they call pro-poor. Anyway, let's talk more to the
Let
caller.
me get you one Procon news. Then.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that caller?
No, go ahead.
Today, I'm privileged to be representing Minister Tue to commission 22 brand new buses for civil servants.
Wow.
So you can join me at the GSA. The Minister
Wow.
of State, the President is addressing the issues that affect the ordinary people.
Yes.
So because we
Listen,
didn't have space
breaking news, 22 brand new buses for civil
for
servants.
civil servants, so,
22
so
brand new
GSA
buses.
will be distributing it to civil servants. I wanted to bring it at last
Yeah.
because we're closing. That we're going to do that commission by 11
So
o'clock.
we'll not be paying car pay again.
Oh yeah, we're going to give it to the civil servants for those buses to be there. But GSA will be in charge.
Good morning. Good morning. Wow. That's massive. That's
Yes, good morning.
breaking news. 22 brand new buses going to be given to
That's
civil
exciting.
servants today. 22 will be dedicated today, according to the Assistant Minister from the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. Good morning.
Bonnie, how are you?
Your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Joe Thomas, a young activist.
Joe, go ahead.
Okay, so I just want to appreciate everything that's happening, and I wish all Liberians can see what is really happening in Liberia and at the right trajectory. So my concern has to do with the procedures, because I was opportune in Basa when the machines were divided.
Yeah.
But immediately the president left, it was chaotic. But I want to
Yeah, you're right.
suggest that the distribution of the life jacket should be systematic and within procedure, that when the president leaves, it doesn't be chaotic, it goes through process.
Okay.
And then my last take has to do with the issue of agriculture.
Okay.
My last issue has to do with agriculture. So I want to suggest to MOA to really release community subscription aid to our collectives at the community level to expand the issue of cassava and vegetable production. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. We'll take more callers. Good morning. Your name, where are you calling from?
My name is James Tano. I'm calling from Rehab, the neighbor of the president.
Okay. James, go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to say thanks to all of you in studio, more especially to my local content brother. Sunday we are going to win the trophy.
No.
Well, how many Lovakande brother you know in the studio? We got 2 Lovakande people here. Oh, that thing.
And you know I'm from Nimba.
Yeah, but go ahead.
You see, people like Kwame and Baga, the reason I hate people most, it is because George Weah as president, become president of the Republic of Liberia. It didn't make his head to like put his foot on working chair and other people follow him.
Yeah.
He bring himself down. If he give the president chance, he will walk from Rehab Junction to your house, or he will walk up to DW Junction.
Yeah.
Every
That's
day.
because of protocol.
Yeah.
But because they may bring himself down to the lowest. So it had these people like, you went to maybe, for example, JJ Rapper, and somebody went to work in a jazz school. You understand? And then you can move with position. You can't talk to people for Canada, and you feel like you're too big.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, you boss man.
Yeah, these people ego suffering today and seeing the president as president.
Look at the Zogos situation. But according, look at the Zogo situation. The people came outside, Invincible Park. So Zogos. They were just expecting, they're getting something and they passed. He said, no, I will not do it. He took all of them, took them to a rehabilitation center and transformed their lives.
And today, these people's lives have been transformed. They are thinking about putting them in a vocational school to live.
Yes.
Also will be fine.
Exactly.
If there was somebody they will give them, they will just share money and they close their car door and go out. But why they make sure associate themselves with these people, it makes the people angry.
We got the superintendent of Grand Bassa County on the line. John Jack Backwell, good morning.
Yeah,
Kwame Opa Weeks.
Kwame Opa Weeks. Let me say Happy New Year to you guys and good morning to you guys in Radio Land.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. But my man, what happened to that look when you were defeated?
The man for look at the feet. Now you are in Wonderland.
Reality set.
The photo that was trending on Facebook is not just recent photo.
Oh, not recent photo.
Yeah, it was a photo in 2020 when I was able to qualify.
You say what, Minister?
The photo suited the vocation. By the way, that is the beauty of the game. We congratulate the finalists and we wish them well.
Yeah.
The finally get knee, but the finally get knee. You got to call a knee, oh.
Congratulate Lopa. Yeah, but I called this morning to appreciate you guys in studio, and after making my point, I will appeal to you guys to extend this program to other community radio stations, or at least to Southern County as well, so that other people who may not get the frequency of LBS, they'll be able to get the good things that is happening. Because if that is done, people will make their judgment based on the work the president have done in just a short space of time with a low economic situation. And I want to say this is good. The president visited Basel, and I know that the country tour is on here again. And I want to remind those in authority of the rural energy, renewable and rural energy area. We stay looking up to them, the information they gave up to March or April, because we got a substation already being burning with light in it. We only need a distribution permission. So with that, like how Minister Benny Cordova can call a 3-day soup, our people in Basel will be able to cook that 3 days and put it in the fridge as well, because the issue about electricity cannot be overemphasized. And with the kind of economic hub that is being created in Basel, I think the president thinking about building the special economic zone, having electricity in Basel with power water will also bomb the president re-election. So the Basel people have asked me to convey this message again to you guys, so that those in authority should take heed of this and make sure that their plan for giving Basel electricity this year will not change and should not change, because we do need electricity to also, like the guy that called from Balanville, he came from way Bokon Jide, but today, he got electricity to his house. He never had it for 30 some more years.
Yeah.
Since 1990, we have not had electricity in Basel. We need electricity. As a superintendent of the county, other county needed to as well, but I think with the substation being brand with electricity in it, I think it's good. And I want to appreciate the president for what he did for the disadvantaged youth. And I think it's a good start. And the president is buttressing what the Ministry of Youth and Sport been doing as well. And the president mean well. There are some things the president does very unusual. Yeah. But people don't know these things until you can see it happening, because he's not the kind of bureaucratic president. There's a president that he just woke up today. If he moves by what he believes in can happen in the lives of people to change their life, he changed their life. Look, when I was playing soccer about that for fun, we used to do open defecation right to the invisible sport park.
Yeah. They used to call it Ray Fee.
Yeah, open defecation. You have blaster training there, you have barrel training there. Yeah. You have to you should, but today look at how it is.
You know how
transformed that place is.
Right.
Look, sometimes I said that, and I said, God already sent this president, for us to change the narrative. Because when the narrative is changing, look at, we stayed almost 18 years, we never went to executive mansion, today president going back to executive mansion. Yeah. So I think I want to appreciate you guys. Let's continue information dissemination so that people can know exactly what is happening. Let's partner with other community radio stations to be able to broadcast what you're saying to the people. Let Benny Cordova do the simple thing everything like how you're doing it. And I want to appreciate you for that because it has the information to your tip.
Yeah, yeah.
So whenever you provide this information, I have similar case where you want to what needed. Distributor will making 3,500 after my wife, but I'll buy you one brand new car. Oh, how much now that 1,000 man, and you want to use my car this day?
I know it.
That is difficult now. So, and we appreciate that because the little is going back to education, little going back to health. Look at the new Redemption Hospital.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
I think the president mean well and the harmonization were well. Look at what happened in Ghana today.
I know. And that was a reference Librarian used to love making. Look at Ghana. Look at Sierra Leone.
The pundits, Liberian pundits.
Look at what happened to that, the economy crumble.
Yeah.
If I'm most of the business people that try to come to Librarian, all of West African countries, because it is difficult there right now. So we appreciate the president. The decision you took to harmonize salary, I think it was a very good decision.
We're coming close now. The minister in the studio. But I see one more call that I can take just before the minister comes in. Rana Dubayu, we can take you for a short while. We have the labor minister right here already.
Yes, thank you very much, Wahid Fofana, and also to my brother Koluba. You know, I'm one of those who are very angry at Koluba. So Koluba is an excellent communicator.
Exactly.
He understands government policy. He got the information. You know, as a brother, Koluba, what you said back and you allowed these guys. But in the last few years, Koluba has been doing extremely well.
Yeah.
And this morning, you know, it's something that I needed to highlight. And I'm just so joyful that the biggest news was kept for last.
Yeah.
The 2%. Yeah, it's marvelous. And what I can say, Waka, these elections will be about tangible.
Yeah.
Not just mere words.
EPA, you want to start lobbying for one?
No, but I don't want to be for Mika. Anyway, Baba. But yeah, that's the time we have for the first segment of the show. Benedict wants to thank you for coming. Got any final comments?
Yeah, I kind of like to close with Randa. You know, Randa is one of the guys who pushed me. We met in Addis and we're having some time. He was so mad at the harmonization. Mad.
So you see when the people talk about the harmonization, they say that only 7
Yeah, he was so mad.
Public
You
officials say
know,
that.
I'm American boy.
Yeah.
He used to plenty money. When I explained the harmonization to him, he literally blew me and said, Ben, you got this information and you're sitting down, you can't go and tell the people. He said, I was mad, but from what you explained to me, I think I like the harmonization. So when I left from Addis, I didn't take permission. You know, there was regulation on people going to the radio.
Yeah.
I didn't take permission from my boss. I went straight to OKFM. I was explaining harmonization. While in studio, yeah, no, he called. Then I saw a message from one of my bosses. Hey, you know, giving me some more information. I said, oh, they want to violate.
Yeah, you found it.
So thank you. We'll keep doing what we're doing. We're doing this because the president has given us the opportunity, and he has worked. That is the reason why the country is stable.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know what the president has done because he's not speaking loud as the quote unquote noise maker. So we will. I can promise you, Randa. I can promise the rest of the people. Whatever information I have on what the president has done and what the implication on our people, I will use any medium. I will chase any group of people who think that they have the information anywhere at any time. That's why you see me on the Facebook. I'm fighting with them and every time because they know that we have the information. I'll be at CEO this afternoon. They've called me there deliberately to just talk about the progress of the government.
Very good.
So I'll be on Curie Street the afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, that's the voice of Benedict Kaluba. Benedict is Assistant Minister at the Ministry of Financial Development Planning. You know, I got the Minister of Labor. Yeah, look at the Minister. Yeah, no, I want to show you to the Minister of Labor. But anyway, like we've been announcing, we currently have in the studio the Honorable Minister of Labor, Councillor Charles Gibson. You know, like we said, as part of the like we said, as part of the government's communication plan in the lead up to the President's State of the Nation address, which is going to be on the 30th, by the way, of this month. That is the fourth working Monday. It is, the mandate of the Liberian Constitution, Article 58, that mandates His Excellency the President to give the State of the Nation address to the National Legislature, which will give the state of the economy, his legislative program for the ensuing session, but also on the state of the economy, he was briefed the nation about expenditure and revenue, but then we'll also talk about all the progress being made in the different sectors. And in the labor sector is very, very cardinal. So that's why we thought to bring, I mean, there's been other ministers coming on the different platforms, whether it is at MICAT, the press briefing, or here at ELBC, using the Super Morning Show, or MICAT Hour right now, as you see. We'll be bringing on the ministers to come and talk, or the heads of the different sectors to come and talk about the different programs. So it is in a light that we have the Honorable Councillor Charles Gibson this morning. Good morning, Minister.
Good morning, and thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, so how are you faring?
Well, we're in great spirit,
Okay.
and His Excellency is about to deliver his State of the Nation address, and we, as his lieutenants, have a duty to ensure that the public is acquainted with those achievements.
Okay. How's the Ministry of Labor? How are you doing it? That's one ministry that is not. I mean, we follow the progress you're making with the trafficking in persons specifically. That's been some of the remarkable progress you've made, but also in the the general labor sector, talking to the different workers' union, the different places that have been clamoring for some things. But you're not been in the press so much like yourself. I mean, except for the occasional press conferences.
At the Ministry of Labor, we exercise a quasi-judicial function
Okay.
in relationship with other responsibilities. And because of it being a quasi-judicial function, and issues pertaining to labor dispute can go as far as the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So what we try to do is to first engage the parties through what we call social dialogue. And many times issues are mitigated and resolved through that forum. But in instances where you see a dispute take a protracted period of time to be resolved, it means that the parties took appeal to the National Labor Court
Okay.
from the ruling of the Ministry of Labor. And at the National Labor Court decision of the judge, there is also appealable to the Supreme Court. So the Ministry of Labor is like a hospital or like a courtroom. There will always be issues to be addressed. So that's why sometimes we try to ensure that the weaker vessels, which are the workers, their concerns and the issues are resolved first and foremost through social dialogue.
Okay. Recently, so I'd like to start firstly with let's go to labor issues first before we get to the trafficking in persons. Right. I know that that has been in the press in the last 24 hours. But let's go to the general labor issue. Talk about how are you catering to the welfare of Liberian employees or employees generally in the country? Issues surrounding their welfare, whether they're mistreated, whether they're getting their fair share of remuneration, from employers. I know there's something called a liberalization policy and all of that. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, at the Ministry of Labor, we have a division of labor standard.
Okay.
That division is responsible to ensure that workers' rights are protected and their safeties are guaranteed at their workplaces. We have found that some of previous governments' constraint had been logistics, because to monitor the labor market, you need to get to wherever there's a worker. And before this government came into being, there was not a single vehicle or motorbike assigned with the labor ministry officer in any of the counties, not even Moserado.
Wow.
That's why we inherited, and that's why the previous government inherited. So that has been the case of successive governments. What we have achieved is that we are being in the position as a government, and by the blessing of His Excellency, to have at our disposal a 4x4 double cabin pickup position in every county.
Wow.
Plus-
One pickup position in every county.
Yes.
Double cabin. Oh wow, that's
plus 2 Yamaha motorbikes, not keke, not pempen. Yamaha motorbike, each of them costs over $3,000. So it means to say the logging company that in the remotest part of a county will be reached at any given time. Having achieved that, we want to know that the Ministry of Labor is more visible now than ever before over the last 50 years or 100 years of this country. The Ministry of Labor, in addition to those logistics, we just do not have vehicles that will rotten down or break down. We have guarantees for fuel. We have guarantees for maintenance. They are all insured. We have tracking devices on them. We have gone ultra modern. Many African countries do not have that. We can reach a labor dispute center in a matter of minutes, not even hours. So the oversight has been achieved. Now, what we are achieving now is how to resolve the issues. Over the years, as most people may have monitored the media, we resolved a couple of issues, and we did not frown on the big guys. Or shy on the big guys.
Right.
We were able to find Asada Mita $308,000
Oh wow.
in the interest of the workers,
Yeah.
and we gave them 24 hours to start disbursement.
Remind us what they did.
Uh-huh.
Okay. There were former workers who had been laid off each time they had reached the maturity to be transferred from contractors to employment.
So they use you to a certain point, and when they know you're about to, get the yield the full benefit,
Yes.
they kick you out.
They kick you up. Or they turn you over to an employment agent that will say this is the new employment, and this is an issue that had been pending since the previous administration. We were able to resolve it, and all the workers got the benefit, totaling $308,000, and the workers' leadership that was involved in prosecuting and pursuing this issue for a couple of years, we also awarded them $15,000 as compensation. We also had an issue at the APM terminal. They laid off 25 workers with all due process. We ordered that while the Ministry of Labor was investigating the issue, those workers should be reinstated. And they refused. And so we went to the labor court for enforcement. They went there with their lawyers, top lawyers. The labor court ruled in our favor. And they took the appeal to the Supreme Court. I've been a lawyer myself, went and represented the lawyers along with other lawyers. And we won the case, and they were ordered to reinstate those people immediately. And as a result of that case, the former APM terminal managing director was withdrawn, and a new one was sent to Liberia, of which we had a cordial relationship before his recent departure. We also had a situation at Lock, where a worker was I won't say accidentally, because it was not proven to be accident or homicide, but he was killed. He was ground like corned beef in the machines. And we went there, and the management said, no, we can bury the person, we can do this, but we have to continue operation. We said, this operation is shut down. You cannot continue until we find the cause of the death. And so we brought in experts. They were closed down for 2 weeks. They complained of losing so much money. We said, well, human life is more important than your money.
Yeah.
And so we assessed the situation. We saw there were some electrical issues, and there were some other issues that police were investigating. They imported some equipment from Ghana by air, installed those equipment, and then we supervised to ensure that they were operational to standard before we gave them the leeway to proceed to resume production. So these are some of the things that we take in the interest of the worker. We also have issue with LDC. We have resolved those issues. Water and Sewer, Liberia Airport Authority, National Transit Authority, COCOPA. So what we do is unprecedented in this administration. Right now, as we speak, there's not a single entity in Liberia that is on strike. Yeah, there are issues. There will always be issues. Even in the family, there are issues. We heard few days ago the rail workers in America was on strike for several weeks. Even in the UK, people have the right to strike.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that the entity is not working when workers strike. The law provides that when a complaint is submitted to the Ministry of Labor, and after 30 days, if there's no movement along resolving it, the aggrieved party, the worker, has the right to give notice of strike. During our administration, we have had not more than 3 notices of strike because we always resolve the issue before it reaches that point. So these are some of the fundamental intervention that this government have made to keep the labor market quiet, peaceful, and satisfactory to the workers.
Let me ask you this. One thing, when you go out there in some of these local restaurants, local places that are owned by foreigners or expatriates, they're an aggrieved employee or worker there, whether it be a part-time or full-time, when something happen and they try to express, dissatisfaction or other stuff like that, and you go there, this owner of this particular either restaurant or shop or store will pick up his phone and then he's on the phone with maybe some big government official.
They say they're talking to the government official.
Talking to this government official, and the next thing it scares the employee. They don't know where to seek redress and all these things. How are you addressing stuff like this for the ordinary guy? Is there a hotline, or what does he have to do if he doesn't know nobody? And they're calling us sometimes, and let's assume this person, Bwaka, Kwame, he's just an ordinary man, and just want the law to just play itself in his favor.
Yes, everybody knows some big person, but knowing a big person doesn't give you an advantage of the law with regards to the Ministry of Labor. It is important that a worker, especially those who are working in environments where they are not unionized, it's important that they communicate through any medium to the Ministry of Labor. Just as the police officer, they do not know where all crimes are being committed, except it's reported to them. Some crimes are open, so it's glaring, so the Ministry of Labor move in. But some is done so quietly, and the poor employee is afraid to come public.
But there's this mindset that they feel that, labor ministry, they got the labor ministry in their pocket. They just say those kind of stuff like that. So what's your message to the ordinary guy listening? You're the boss of labor ministry.
That's not true. Every day I receive not more than 5 WhatsApp messages from complainants direct to me.
Good job.
Around 3 o'clock, apparently most of them have gotten to know when I'm up working. Between 3 to 5 o'clock, my phone is busy with workers who are giving us information of issues at the workplaces for us to intervene. And we have a team that is headed by the Inspector General of Labor, who is very, very versatile, and the labor inspectors on the field to ensure that we carry on inspection, even if our issue is not reported. We have 25 inspectors just in Moserado County. And these inspectors are divided among various sectors of the business community. They visit those areas, have talk with employers on the sideline, and then gather information. And we use those information sometimes with all the owners of those businesses knowing who have brought it to us. We cite them for the meeting. We expose this allegation, and then the environment is changed. Sometimes we even find them. We as the Ministry of Labor has authority to fine, and I must tell you, my brother, we don't take that responsibility lightly, that privilege lightly. We fine often. The last time we fined B Mountain $30,000. We fine. It serves as a deterrent.
Yeah.
Serves as a deterrent. So
Will you say, I found it remarkable that you were talking about the fact that we do not have any major strike happening across the country, with all the different institutions that we have, companies, major, concessionaires in the country, and we don't have a major strike ongoing, despite all the labor concerns that you've had. Will you attribute that to the kind of interventions you've made? Like you've intervened on behalf of the workers like you should, maybe that has been satisfactory to them or something?
You see, the president that we have is an individual that many do not understand. But he keeps tracks of what we do in every ministries of government. He listens, he reads, he monitors, he calls and asks questions. With regards to the Ministry of Labor, his concern is overwhelming because workers' interest is paramount to him. It is against that backdrop that he signed and had the legislature to ratify several international conventions that were pending at the Ministry of Labor, some of them for up to 50 years. For instance, the Convention on Minimum Wage, the Convention on Equal Work for Equal Paid. So these are things that we needed to put in place from which we can draw all the necessary regulations for enforcement. So these are clear examples of the government unquestionable interest in the welfare of the workers. Imagine instruments waiting for over 50 years since Dole time that just need to be signed by the president, ratified, and then the workers will be protected. They have been languishing at the Ministry of Labor. So these are issues that we want the Liberian people to note and to also take advantage of the environment that has been provided by this government for employment opportunities and other things. When we took over the Ministry of Labor, we signed initially MOU with Liberia Chamber of Commerce to provide 500 jobs. The leadership of the Liberia Chamber of Commerce was very enthusiastic to ensure that these things happen. In fact, at the signing ceremony, the American ambassador was there, the Indian ambassador, the Lebanese ambassador. It was great. But apparently it appeared to us that the leadership of the Liberia Chamber was not getting the kind of cooperation from its membership. But before we realized that, we are already enrolled and registered, interview almost 8,000 Liberian job seekers. So what did we do? We had to go ahead to find jobs for them. And maybe it was good the Liberation of Commerce delay because we enter into strategies and issue standing order number 2, standing order number 1, that created space for us to employ like Liberians in the private sector. The labor law provides that before the labor ministry issues a work permit to a foreigner, he must be convinced that there is no Liberian that is competent, qualified, and available for that job.
For that particular job.
For that particular job. And there are conditions set to it. The vacancy must be published in the local newspaper for at least 1 month, 3 local newspapers, broadcast on 3 local radio stations for at least a month, and available on social media. What we found is that most of the entities were not complying with these prerequisites. So we issued standing order number 2. Standing order number 2 created a lot of jobs because it provides that if you have not met up with those requirements, for every foreigner we approve, get a Liberian as his immediate counterpart.
Okay.
Yes. So through that process, we have been able to directly, through the Ministry of Labor, provide jobs for over 600 Liberians.
So for every foreigner, regardless of the job, doesn't have to be a managerial job or something. For every foreigner that is approved for a particular portfolio, has to have a Liberian counterpart?
Yes, in certain categories.
Okay.
Because there are some areas where you find a Lebanese man alone owns his store.
Okay.
Who can he employ? We're talking about those big entities.
Right.
Like those chain supply that have stores in various communities. You know. So we also ensure that these people who are employed are given the requisite salary. We see the person they are working on a salary, and we say, no, don't give the Liberian less than 60% of this person's salary. And in some cases, it's interesting to note that after 1 year or so, the business will come to us and say, we don't need to employ a foreigner anymore. Let the Liberian take charge. Because they spend more money to import a foreigner, giving housing and giving all of those benefits. With a Liberian, you can give him 60% of what you give in the expatriate, and you have the same job done. But let me sit here for the record. Liberian workers need to improve their relationship and their job ethics.
Okay.
You may have the qualification, but the job ethics has been a problem. And so we at the Ministry of Labor, before we forward people's names to entity, we have orientations. So that you can prepare your state of mind to ensure that it's not just qualification you are going to sell.
What are you talking about when you talk about the ethics specifically? What kind of behavior pattern are you talking about?
Let me give you an example. It's raining, and you got to work late. Work starts 8, but you got to work around 8:30. And you just pass by your boss who is standing to the door without even saying a word. Maybe just good morning. And when the boss asks you, are you aware you are late? You say, you see it really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
So this is something that is across Liberia. I mean, it's generally practiced by Liberian workers. I mean, you've noticed that?
No, it's a problem that is being resolved
Okay.
gradually. That is the ethical side of the work.
Okay.
You know.
Let's
okay, go
address the elephant in the room. I know recently you huddled with your colleague from Oman.
Yeah. Okay.
The
trafficking.
Yeah, the Minister of Labor there. I saw a communication. But before that, we saw, a heavy influx of our women being wrongly. Some they would lure them to say they're going to Dubai and other countries, offer these to be lucrative offers they make, and they end up as uh, slave workers, so to speak, based on some of the excruciating, stuff we see out there, videos, pains, marks when they come back. One situation I know, we had a media, sitting at your office, where one of them was even suggesting that they must have, attempted taking her organ, and you would think after all of the strides you've made that this is over. I know you just slammed one of the guys, two persons in jail, but we still see, our women still, there are people they're recruiting them and still taking them to this one country. Why is Oman still in the picture, and what have we not gotten right?
When this government assumed constitutional authority over this country, we realized that to address most of the problem, we had to do law reforms.
Mm-hmm.
So before it started with reforming the human trafficking law, now the human trafficking law provides minimum 20 years imprisonment for anyone found guilty of the crime. And within that law, for the first time, we have a civil remedy in the form of restitution for damages.
Okay.
So the victims now can move the court in the criminal proceedings. They don't have to go to a civil court
Okay.
to seize the property of the perpetrators, have them auctions, and so the victims can get compensated for loss of any form of damages. Now, having done that, we realized that we needed to put the right lawyers on board. The government, through the National Anti-Human Trafficking Task Force, which I head, and the Minister of Justice is the co-chair. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Minister of Internal Affairs, the Minister of Health, and the Minister of Gender are also members. The Inspector General of the Police, the Commissioner General of LRS are also members. So we work together. We agreed and we recruited some private lawyers. And as such, those private lawyers team up with the government lawyers, and we carried on close to 8 cases last year, and almost 15 perpetrators are in jail for 20 years.
Now, as we speak.
Yes. Now, as you speak. One just went to jail on yesterday.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that.
so you just won a case on yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday. And as such, Liberia is becoming a scary zone. I visited Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Ivory Coast and met with the human trafficking ministers in those countries. They were amazed of the kind of support the Liberian government is giving to fight human trafficking. If you do not know what is happening in your neighbor's home, you will not appreciate it. The food your daddy is putting on the table. Sierra Leone copy from Liberia, Guinea copy from Liberia, Ivory Coast copy from Liberia. We gave them notes.
And we should also state that you were recently given plaudits by the U.S. government.
Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed. The Secretary of State of the United States of America identified 6 heroes of human trafficking. Liberia was the only African country that produced a hero.
Yeah.
Wow.
Only African country. And we were elevated from one level to the upper level.
Yeah. Tier 2 or so.
Tier 2. Now, the girls from Oman, the government have put forward tremendous resources to ensure that those that can be repatriated get back home within the shortest period of time. what we've done in addition to that is to ensure that they are reintegrated. We had a seminar for about a week in which 112 of those who were repatriated and participated, and now next week Monday 50 of them will start training in business and other aspects. Each of the 50 will be given by ROM $1,500 US for resettlement.
Wow.
That's a good start.
Yes. Because to just bring the person in the country and just say you are home now on your own, no. We also have now 3 safe homes. 3 safe homes. The 3 safe homes are available for any of them, even if they have returned to Liberia, but they are with their families and they are living with friends and they find it difficult to get adjusted. We bring them back to the safe home.
They can go there.
Yes. The Liberia Consul General in Dubai has been very helpful. He is the one he is the one coordinating most of those repatriation. We send him the money and then he buys the ticket and tells us when they are arriving. When they are arriving, we go to the airport, we pick them up, we take them to the safe home. They remain there for a couple of days while the Minister of Health communicate with the JFK. They go there, they do the complete medical evaluation, take treatment, they have psychosocial supporter, and then after that, before they decide to go to their families. But
Has have all of the different efforts you've put into this discouraged the act? Do you see less and less instances of
yeah,
trafficking?
The numbers are still going up.
No, interestingly, we realized from the border crossing, most of our girls try to use Sierra Leone and Guinea. And then the Minister of Social Welfare of Sierra Leone, who is in charge of human trafficking there, have called me a few times and said we just put down from the plane some Liberian ladies that was using our airport. So we have this collaboration.
That's good.
Last year we had like 8 cases ongoing simultaneously in Grand Jide, Monserralo, Papulu, and Lufa.
Yeah, they're going to
This year,
move in the interior.
This year we don't have more than 3. Now, what we are doing now is to not just take the small guys. You see the guy that was convicted yesterday? He's an NSA agent. The government is not covering up no one.
Wow.
He was assigned to the airport. Instead of doing his job, he was facilitating and encouraging human trafficking.
Wow.
And the head of NSA did not waste time. He dismissed him, turning over for prosecution, and now he will get not less than 20 years when the judge issue his sentencing next year. Because the law provides that it can't be less than 20 years.
What's your message to those wanting or hearing you now, or that are in the processing the documents that they're going to the UAE or Egypt, because these are the 2 countries they're using? My latest case that I investigated just a couple of days ago, this lady she went through Ghana. Now it's like the cat and mouse they're playing now. I want you to talk to people that are out there trying to make this attempt to go to Oman.
As a citizen of Liberia, you have the right to travel. It's enshrined in the Constitution. But where your travel will put burden on taxpayers, where your travel will put you in harm's way, where it will impose upon government to use taxpayers' resources to bring you back home, then the government has a duty to intervene. And how we intervene first, the Minister of Justice and I issued Standing Order Number 3, which prohibited Liberian females going to Oman in sort of domestic servant job. It means that the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry and the Liberian Immigration Services had the power then to deplane, and they did deplane several girls who was traveling for that purpose.
Yeah, that's on record. We have.
In our discussion with the Umani government, they committed to us that they will stop issuing visa to Liberian girls of those categories going to Uma. So the girls now will leave Liberia, go Sierra Leone and Guinea and other countries and get traveling documents and go. So what we've done is to provide a regulation so that entities that want to get involved in external employment can come to the Ministry of Labor, register, don't go on the ground, will provide the necessary preconditions like insurance, like indemnity bond, those things, to ensure that the people you are taking out of the country remain in contact with their relatives here, that their pay is insured through a bank account, to ensure that if they are abused, the entity that carried them will be responsible to repatriate them. It is against this backdrop that we had further talk with the government of Oman through the instrumentality of the Honorable His Excellency, the Minister of Foreign Affairs. And I spoke with my counterpart just last week. A hard power delegation would be going to Oman. The government of Oman is aware of these things, but they too indicated to us that it's been done by criminal gangs in both countries.
So how do we stop them?
So our security forces here have provided a dossier of allegations of places that these crimes and perpetrators live. So we are going to Oman. We will share those security information with the authorities there. They have assured us that they will have those people arrested. They will have them prosecuted. But in addition to that, the Omani government have indicated to us that they want better relationship between Liberia and their country. So they want us to discuss an MOU that will indicate the terms and conditions for which Liberian girls will be going to Oman for job, and it will guarantee their safety. And this is the work of the foreign minister, but they also now want to establish diplomatic relationship with Liberia and discuss trade and commerce and other things.
Okay. Just before opening the lines, two more things I wanted to talk about. One is your visit to Beer Mountain and Firestone. And the next is when are we seeing the next labor statistics in the country about the labor data?
Yeah, the visit to Firestone and to Beer Mountain is part of our continuing outreach. We went to ensure that the issues that were breeding in those entities are addressed through social dialogue.
Okay.
And so those issues may not reach the stage of submitting a complaint to the Ministry of Labor.
Okay.
Because I just told you, after a complaint is filed, next is a notice for strike. So if there's no movement to resolve those issues. So we met with the manager, the general manager at Beer Mountain. We met with the workers. And interestingly, the son of the owner of Beer Mountain was present. And so it helped the process. And in my presence, he gave the general manager a standing instruction to ensure that whatever the Ministry of Labor tells you to do as regard maintaining peace and tranquility on this concession, you must do it. And as a result of that, immediately there were over 600 workers there that have not been receiving food allowances because of some legal complication at the labor court. And the the management is saying they don't know which of the union to deal with. So as such, we told them, issue the food to the 600 workers immediately. And they assure us that before the end of this week, that will start. There were also issues pertaining to the safety of workers. And they guarantee to us that they will open all of the facilities and the areas where EPA and Ministry of Lands and Mines see needs to be strengthened with regards to safety. They will abide by those advisements. They were also concerned about their contribution to the NASCON. The workers are saying that
Social Security.
yes, some of them they have not received a Social Security card for so long, but the management re-emphasized that they are remitting those deductions to NASCON on a monthly basis, and then a two-man committee from the Workers Association was put together to work with the HR to come to the NASCON office to have discussions to make sure that those remittance are not just being made, but the workers receive their various RDs. At Firestone, the issue had to do with the security. The security, as we know in most instances, do not have time off for lunch. So they are saying that the management should pay them
For that extra
For the extra hour.
for that extra hour. And then the issue has boiled down to how much to be paid. So we discussed with management and the workers, but the workers have the upper hand there because they are saying if you don't pay us for lunchtime we'll just sit down. We take our 1 hour and bend our head.
I know.
If anything gets messy during lunchtime, you go are responsible. And so the management assure us that long before February 1st, they will reach a compromise with the workers. The other issue had to do with rice. The company provides each worker 100 kg pound of rice. So the small bag that we call a year, each worker gets four of those.
Yeah.
Government have increased the price of rice. So that has affected the terms and conditions of the CBA as to what should be the subsidies of management on that rice. And we felt that their request that the management absorb that shock was not unreasonable, because the management is the bigger vessel, and it has impacted on the household income by the increase in the price of rice. At least for the time being, we urge the management to ensure that the issue of the rice is showed up by them. But then the workers had another concern. They are saying that Firestone says they are buying the rice for $17 a bag. They are not satisfied with that representation, because $17 a bag is when a lay person goes into a store and buy one bag.
Right.
But if you buy 10,000 bags of rice, there's a discount.
Yeah.
And they want those things to help to mitigate the issues.
Okay, let's
So
open the
open the
lines.
line.
If you're out there and want to participate on the show, we have Labor Minister Councillor Charles Gibson in our studio. He's been explaining about the progress in the sector. So yeah, call us on the numbers 0865 61537. Good morning.
Good morning, brother.
Yeah, your name, where you calling from?
Thank you so much. My name is Christian Yanti, and I joined the conversation from the Office of the Intellectual Alliance.
Okay, Christian.
Well, I think Minister Charles Gibson is one of those good persons in the administration of President Weah. I think he's championing the pro-poor agenda for prosperity development in the interest of our people. But two things quickly. One happens to do with the issue about this guy from the Rantoy supermarket and that whole Liberian security. I don't know how far is that case because I'm hearing from other sources that the Liberian security compromised that case.
Okay, thank you. We'll take.
The second thing is there are some Syrians that are in Liberia that are operating without work permit, and some of them has contract. Now, if you go down the 16th Street, you will see them building, having a construction contract that they are doing there. That information reached me, but I thought to reach out to the Ministry of Labor.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next caller. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let me take this other one. Good morning.
Mr. Baga Fofana, and good morning to the consumer Liberian.
Okay, your name, where are you calling from?
My name is Ibrahim Political Mojisetu, and I call from the headquarters of the Veterans Bureau on the most talk about this morning. Let me appreciate the Labor Minister. I think them doing extremely well here, technical team, entire team, especially the Labor Inspector, people, everybody. Honorable Minister, I can remember last year when my brother Setu had issue with Simeco, the Labor Ministry was not more ensuring that they can resolve the issue. At least they were paid by Simeco because they have so many issues. They present a case to Labor Ministry, and Labor Ministry want to intervene. So I hope and pray that the team will have that good courage in ensuring that some of the labor issues have their own will be resolved because there will all be issues. But in the end of the issue, it should be resolved. So I wish the team well in the new year 2023. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Let's take more callers. Good morning. We'll take two more. Good morning.
Good morning, Minister Fofana.
Your name, where are you calling from?
My feminine calling from Buchanan Person Street, one of the Organic Funders.
Yeah.
Good morning to Minister Charles Jessie.
Good morning.
Minister, I want to find out from you people is what actually happened when you pick the government and ArcelorMittal that when ArcelorMittal go against your own citizen, you don't talk to them.
You just heard him talk about finding ArcelorMittal more than $300,000.
Yeah, but we are being damaged as a citizen. It don't happen in the Western world. We are being damaged. We are 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
I want to get a point of view. Because they're not doing nothing to ArcelorMittal.
Thank you. We'll take our last caller and then get back to the minister. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Your name, where are you calling from?
Okay, my name is N.C. Gewagidwa. I'm calling from Buchanan, Grand Bassa County.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I want to say that thank you, Honorable Minister. I'm a representative of an aggrieved worker that we have a case back at the ministry over there, and the minister, deliberation, I see it as a release to me. I just want him to guide us and so that we can see. We've been over there for 4 years. Our case was transferred from the Labor Commission office to the ministry.
Okay. Thank you. Let's hear him respond now. We run out of time. Yeah.
Well, I will start with the issue of the supermarket. There are some issues. It may not be massive in terms of affecting many workers, but the nature of it demands immediate attention, like what happened at that supermarket. A security guard, according to the information we received, arrived at his workplace late, but hurriedly to get in his uniform, and did not notice there was some plastering of the floor with concrete going on. He stumbled and fell, and the Lebanese guide who was there took exception to the damage of the concrete that was being plastered. And he alleged that the Lebanese man assaulted him. He went to the police, and he was not satisfied with the result. So we as the Ministry of Labor exercised within our statutory responsibility. What we did, we had an investigation, and we established that there was an issue, and we suspended his work permit because the police had already taken charge of the criminal aspect of it. And we said that suspension will remain until the issue is resolved. At the Ministry of Labor, we called the police. The police came in and re-arrested the Lebanese man, the manager or sub-manager, and we understand that the case went to court. The Liberia Human Rights Commission was present, and they assured us that they will follow the case in court and keep us informed. With regards to the Syrians selling around here, that's true. That's true. It has been happening for years now, but just recently, we established direct dialogue with the leadership, and all of those who are doing that business here are being registered with the Ministry of Labor, and those who are hiding will be fined. The labor law provides that if you operate in the market sector, in the employment sector, and you do not have a work permit, you are fined $1,000, and the person who employs is fined $2,000. So we've given them 1 week to regularize all the papers, or else. You know the meaning of or else in law. Yes. Now, with regards to AML, I understand that there will always be issues in these big companies. Some issues are fostered through the union, some issues are fostered individually. Just before Christmas, we were in Yekepa, and I served as guest speaker at the graduation of the technical school. During our meetings with the union and the management, a day before the graduation, the issues that came to us had to do primarily with salary harmonization. We talk about it in government, but it's an issue also in AML. The workers are saying those who are operating, for instance, front-end loader, some are making higher salary than others. And the management is saying the reason for that is because some of the front-end loader operators can also operate motor grader, bulldozer, excavator. And as such, the salary differences is justified. We said no to that. Our president have just signed, and this government have just deposited with Geneva the Convention on Equal Work for Equal Pay.
Yeah.
It is not your job title that calls the equal work. It's the job you do. So as we speak now, our assistant minister for standards is in Buchanan with the HR of AML, harmonizing those issues. The other issue they raised was increase in salary, and that the general manager, and honestly who I found to be a man who having worked in Ghana, knows how the Africans think, in that they want increment, and they also want a prestigious position in the management. He committed to me that upon my letter to him, he will ask his bosses to have an increment in the workers' paid. But what we observe is that up the mount, I was impressed to see only Liberians, geologists, and mining engineers were there. So I raised those issues. I say, if unlike B Mountain, where you see several expatriate staff, but AML up there, where I saw all Liberians, and I spoke with them, they were not foreigners, they're all Liberians. Then incentive, he said, yes, we'll do that. We also received information that a company called Western Cluster is operating in Western Liberia, and they brought in a lot of Ghanaians. We're about to go there from B Mountain, but we left B Mountain after 5. So the general manager and the team from Western Cluster will be in my office by 12 o'clock today. We want to know what gave them the audacity to bring in foreigners to work in this country with all processing work permit for them. And also, they are doing jobs that Liberians can do, that the information we gathered, because I sent my inspector general there, and he came down with that information. And I also had a conversation with Senator Melvin Cole.
Marvin Cole.
No, not Marvin Cole.
Senator Edwin Snow?
Edwin Snow.
Okay.
He too expressed that concern. He said, Councillor Gibson, something is happening there. You see, we have to be informed. We are not a satellite that picks up everything everywhere. And so I also spoke with their lawyer, and the lawyer promised that he will ensure that they are brought in compliant with the law. So as the outcome of this meeting today at 12 o'clock, the public will be informed.
Is it somebody listening to you will say, is it about compliance? Because if you caught me stealing and I say I will not steal no more, you leave me without sending me to jail, they broke Liberian law.
But the first thing we do, we'll find you.
Okay.
I don't want to put the cat up the bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because once there's evidence that those people have been in this country for a protracted period of time with all work permit, we'll find them.
That's the voice of... Okay, go ahead.
And if they do not comply, we revoke the work permit of the senior staff. That's what we do. You see, the Supreme Court has ruled that the Minister of Labor have vast discretion on the granting of work permit. The law provides that even if I hear that Liberians are being restrained from getting employment in Ghana, I can use that as a ground to refuse Ghanaians from getting employment in Liberia. So we have vast discretion. So, and we use that in the interest of our people.
Wow, quite a lot happening in the labor sector, and we just want to thank Labor Minister Councillor Charles Gibson for being here today. You know, he talked about the progress with trafficking in person, you know, the progress in the labor sector generally, the interventions they've made with labor dispute. You know, there's been a lot of newsworthy things that he said here today. We just want to once again say thank you, Honorable Minister, for being here. That's it for... Okay.
Okay, my late brother don't want to give me my final comment.
No, go ahead.
Say something good.
Go ahead, Mr.
One great thing is happening that the workforce in Liberia is not have not picked up. It has to do with the president establishing the minimum wage pool.
Yeah.
The minimum wage is for both public workers and corporate workers. Now, the signal that should send is that when the minimum wage pool has been reconstituted in any country, it tells you that there's a research going on. And that research is being carried on by astute members of the board. One of them is the chairman of the economic department at LU, Professor Jibe Ejibe. And we have other eminent persons on that board. After the research, the government cannot declare the minimum wage pool upward with all research-based information. After that research, I can tell you, from where I sit as chairman of that board, a lot of good things going to happen, because the income of workers needs to go up, because a lot of things have happened that impact upon their wages. Rentage is going up, school fees going up, transportation going up. but the minimum wage remains at 100 and something.
Yeah.
But to do that, you need research base. So the moment the minimum wage board have come up with its recommendation, I'm sure the workers, both civil servant and corporate workers, will see changes in their income. I would also like to make this note very clear. We've had some challenges in creating and identifying employment for our people. And those challenges basically are the kind of professions our people choose. There's no one how they want to employ or sociologists.
Yeah. Economists,
Yeah.
management,
Yeah,
political science,
public administration.
administration.
Yeah, most of them go LU and other countries. They take the easy profession. Yeah, and the easy profession is very difficult to get employment. The engineers are all getting jobs. Because when you bring in 5 engineers to build the road to Roberts Field, I'll give you 5 Liberian engineers. It's just simple. Carpenters, masoners, welders. Sometimes we go to Karachi.
Honorable Minister, we'll be reminded of time.
Yeah. we go to Karachi trying to find welders. I want to encourage our youth to go to vocational school. You can easily get a job when you graduate from vocational school than when you graduate from LU, for the Department of Sociology or Anthropology or Public Administration. Thank you.
That's the voice of Councillor Charles Gibson, the Honorable Minister of Labour. He was here for 1 hour straight. That's it for this week's edition of MICAT Hour. This is a production of the communication team. We're bringing on government officials to come and talk about developments in their sector. This week we've had so far education, labor, WASH, the various sectors coming on to talk about these developments. We'll bring on more government officials in the ensuing week, whether on the SMS show or at MICA press briefing. My name is Borkai M.